Okay. Hello, welcome to episode 16 of Hatching. Hatching is a podcast about early stage ideas, experiments, and about the inner workings of our company Need Want.
I'm John Wheatley.
I'm Marshall Oss.
I'm David Myers.
There we go. Yeah, the nice little video intro After Effects thing. It's been a while.
Has been a while. I think it's been like 2 months or something since our last one.
We got called out like
a few times. I think it's been the longest time between episodes.
It's going to be really awkward when every single episode we start off with like, oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I know. We have to do that. It's funny. There are things in the flow task topics for the show I could barely even remember happening. It's like, what is this? It happened like 2 months ago or something.
Yeah.
So sorry it's been so long since our last episode.
Yeah, so we have quite a bit. I don't know if these are going to go by quickly or this is going to be a long episode.
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Yep.
So what have you guys been up to?
You've been up to something interesting.
That wasn't very
nice
good.
Nice try.
First thing we're going to talk about, I went to a float tank.
So what's a float tank, John?
I don't know if that's the correct term. It's
Dude,
basically
sensory deprivation.
Yeah, it's a sensory deprivation tank. It's a tank of water inside this kind of like white dome thing, and the water's got a lot of salt in it, so you're very, very buoyant.
It's like the Dead Sea.
Yeah. It's also perfect skin temperature, so you actually can't feel anything when you're lying in there. And it's pitch black. The idea is you just kind of go in there. You're supposed to like not feel like anything. It's almost as if you're like falling through the air without air like touching you, you know. It's supposed to be very relaxing and very meditative and kind of cool. So I did that.
There?
90 minutes for $65. It's quite cheap, I think.
Yeah.
Relative to like massages and stuff like that, like other things in that realm.
You've always wanted to do this for a long time.
Yeah. So I thought I'd just quickly talk about my experience with it.
Yeah. It was trippy.
To summarize, it was really weird. One thing I know is because it's dark in there. Like I had my eyes open for a long time. Completely lost track of time, by the way. I had my eyes open for a long time, but I couldn't work out if they were open or closed, which sounds so weird in hindsight. But it's like I remember just being like, "Are my eyes open?" I have to like.
I wish you could get a little camera just like right above your face.
Yeah, like your brain tries to make sense of it, you know, and it's a very, very strange feeling.
How'd you eventually figure out your eyes were open?
I mean, you can kind of just figure it out if you really think about it.
Did you remember how to blink?
Yeah, I was like blinking, and then I was like, "Are they open now?" Yeah, they're open now.
Wow.
But if it's like your brain tries to make sense of like these lack of like emotions. Like at one point, it felt like I was sitting down, and it felt like I was like sat up, you know, like on a chair. I could feel the chair and stuff all around me. Another time it felt like I was like lying down. Like it's just weird how your brain tries to like fill in the gaps. It's very interesting.
Do you ever feel sick?
Some people do. It's very disorientating for some people. A lot of people have like anxiety. I didn't really feel that. It was just kind of nice and like relaxing thing to do for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought I'd mention it. Weird.
You could hear your eyelids.
Oh yeah. That's when I was figuring out if my eyes were open or closed. I was like blinking because it's like totally quiet in there, and you wear like ear plugs. You can actually hear your eyelids like blink and also like look around. I was like looking around, and you could hear this like swish, 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 swish. It's pretty fucking weird. It's pretty fucking weird. Highly recommended though if anyone's interested in trying it.
Yeah. I want to check it out. You want to go?
Yeah.
We have to schedule a time.
Yeah. They're like booked out for like a month or
Very
two.
busy.
Yeah.
Very busy.
It's weird. It's a weird thing to like get popular and be a thing.
There's a lot of weird shit like that. Yeah.
Anyways.
We all got Oculus Rifts. I thought we should talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's relevant because I think I might have talked about this on the podcast previously, but I've talked to you about it previously. Like, I would love to go in one of those sensory deprivation tanks with one of those spacewalk VR programs, like tech demos that they have.
Just feeling like you're
because you
floating in
literally,
space.
you can't feel anything. So it would feel like you're floating through space, but you can also like see.
Sounds trippy.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Probably a bit dangerous in terms of electric shocks and stuff like that. But
Yeah. There's got to be a way to do it though.
what do you think of your Oculus?
I think it's sweet. So we all bought. If you don't know what an Oculus is, it's a virtual reality like headset. They're what are they called? Dev kits right now. It's not like the
it's like
consumer
the second
grade.
one.
Yeah.
Did you do Did you do anything realistic or only like games and stuff?
I did a pseudo-realistic thing. I did this thing called something the chair, and it's kind of designed to like fuck with you. Basically, you sit in this chair, and it's just like a regular like office situation. There's like a desk in front of you, a computer, and as soon as you look over here and then look back, there's something that's out of frame will just kind of like change very, very subtly. So it'll be like a plant, and you look over here, and the plant's now like a flower or something. But it gradually gets more and more ridiculous, but it's all based upon like when you look away from stuff. So it really like kind of fucks with you.
Yeah.
And I think it ends with you like flying through space. So it goes from you just like sitting in this desk, you just like...
Did you take it that far?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's cool.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I know how it's supposed to work. I know like it was gonna be really cool, and it was much cooler than I even thought what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's way more immersive than I thought.
Yeah. Like
especially the real video stuff.
Yeah.
Like you'll do a game, and you can obviously tell it's not real, right? Because it's like whatever graphics. But then when you do an actual video of like walking around, it seems way more realistic, which is cool.
Yeah. Like just even in a game, like being able to kind of like look out a window and then kind of like sync back.
Yeah.
Little things like that were weird. Yeah. I noticed too, like when you put it on, kind of like pierces the veil, like you know, your mind like knows you're putting this thing on. But if like you close your eyes, you know, in IRL and then put it on and then you open them and you're like all of a sudden in this like new world, that was so trippy. I was super sick when we first tried it.
I get headaches.
And I was getting kind of, I don't know.
Did you get headaches or no?
A little bit. Like I was running it off my laptop, which isn't really powerful enough to do any of these like tech demos. So there was very, very obvious like, you know, frame rate issues and just like lag, which I think made it way, way worse in terms of just
like the tank thing. I think your mind's just like, what do I do with this? Yeah, super cool though.
It is cool.
Anyways, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
I guess I should talk about this next one.
Sure. Yeah.
So this is just an interesting thing that happened when I was using Second the past 2 months. Do you know what AARC is, Marshall and David?
Nope.
Do you know what it stands for?
It stands for...
Actually, can't remember.
Stands for Advanced Reading Copy of a Book, and basically like publishers send out ARCs to, you know, journalists and people who are like friends maybe and family, people who are notorious for like review books, that kind of thing.
It's giving like influencers access to a movie, a book, whatever.
Totally. Yeah. There was a book that's coming out that I really wanted to read called I think it's called How to Rob a Bank or When to Rob a Bank or something. It's by the Freakonomics guys.
To you saying the title of this book.
Why?
It's like,
it sounds sketchy. Like, why would you want to know that? It's by the guys that did the Freakonomics book, which is really cool. They have a really good podcast. And it was coming out like in about a month or something. It's out now, by the way. And I was just like, I wonder if I could get an advanced reading copy of this. Like, it's worth a try. So I asked my second, I was like, hey, can you just call and just ask the publishing company if I can have one? He was like, yeah, like, you know, it's called up. I actually think they originally said no. And I think they were, the way that Molly tells the story, like they were just kind of confused. They were like, no, of course he can't. Like that's, why are you asking? Like how like brazen is that? And I can only assume they like kind of had a conversation about it internally and were just like, oh,
maybe this guy's
like
he's bold enough to ask.
Yeah. So then they called Molly back and was just like, yeah, we'll give him one, just like email this address. And I got one for free. Like this book that was, you know, cost $20. They sent it to me for free about a month before it came out. Just kind of cool. I thought it was worth mentioning because it's like one of those things that people probably just never do, you know? And I feel like if you just did that to every book that you want to read like a month before it comes out, like chances are you'll get advanced reading copies of like a high
it's cool. It's like,
of them.
hey, I'm John Wheatley's assistant. Helps legitimate. Helps legitify even.
Nobody. It's like a classic case of like, act like you're supposed to be there, and nobody's gonna question you. I mean, they did question it, but then they were like you said, like the internal conversation is probably like, whatever. Like this guy probably is legit if he's asking. Like, let's
just
but
funny
because you got an advanced reading copy. Here you are talking about it on the podcast, being an influencer.
True.
It's the right call.
The book was great. Yeah, it was just cool because like all I did was send a text message. I was like, hey, can you get me an advanced reading copy of this? Like my second figured out all the logistics and like made it happen. I was just like 2 days later, I just had the book. I was like, wow, It's really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, thought I would just mention that on the podcast.
Yeah. So emoji masks was featured during like the official Coachella Snapchat story, and none of us actually use Snapchat very much. I kind of started using it ever since that happened, but you know how Snapchat works. I'm guessing almost everyone does. I feel like we're like the minority that doesn't.
You know how it works.
We know how it works, so we just not.
No, I mean like yeah. But like actually, I didn't know how a story worked, like the logistics of it.
Huh.
Anyways, it's like the official, just like they curated a bunch of Snapchats at Coachella, and a few friends like started texting us pictures like of screenshots, and emoji masks was in like one of the stories during the Snapchat story.
Yeah, like it was buried in there too. There was probably like
It was near the end. wasn't it?
25 like clips, like
Yeah.
photos and clips, and it was just kind of like a brief split second in one
Like
of the clips.
3 people just like dancing with these masks. But so we had like a small uptick in sales, and I think what was it, John? Like
We made like $2,000 that day. I think it was about 100 sales we made for
like
it.
an extra 100 sales
Yeah.
off of it over 2 days.
Yeah.
So we're like, I wonder how many people actually saw this, and it's so much of the stretch to like see that. Be like, what is that? And then go to Google, like
Yeah.
type in emoji masks.
There's no link or anything. It's not like
Yeah.
Right.
these are from emojimasks.com. It's just a split second glance
Right.
of emoji masks.
Yeah. So we were like, I don't know what the conversion rate is. Like, how many people do we think watch these? And then like 2 days later, Evan Spiegel or whatever his name is, the CEO of Snapchat, tweeted 44 million people saw the Coachella Snapchat stories.
Did you work out the conversion rate?
I wish I did.
44 million and we sold about 100.
100. Yeah.
That's probably a very easy sum.
Probably.
Someone
Move the decimal
figure
a
it
couple
out,
times.
let us
know. I don't know.
I was actually, it's really impressive, like how, like the reach that Snapchat has. You know,
Yeah.
like, because it was just like a fleeting, like split second glance.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing it drove 100 sales.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Anyways, not really much else to say about that one. It's just interesting to know the numbers on that.
Yeah, it's cool. It just showed up. Like we all looked it up, like kind of tapped through. And we're like, oh, hey, there it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just like a little fun thing to happen.
Yeah.
That leads in well, actually. So we've started to notice, like, so we try to be really transparent about, you know, as much as we can, and write these long form essays about, you know, launching emoji masks, for example, or how much it costs us to build mod, things like that. And that's what we've become known for doing. But we've started to notice over time, like, sometimes it's hard being that transparent. And a really good example now is like emoji masks. So we launched it, like it kind of went viral, you know, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post. You know, we sold out of like how many did we order?
it was
Initially? Like 5,000?
Something like that.
It's like 5,000 masks in like, you know, a few days. And yeah, people saw it, but nobody really knew like how well it did. And then we did that blog post saying, you know, we sold like 50 grand over, you know, whatever, first 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that blog post then did really well and you know, was read by a ton of people.
And that was pretty in depth
Yeah.
of a post of
Totally.
like how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just kind of, you know, we made these masks and it cost this much. So now like a bunch of people have been copying it. Like in the UK, there's shops and it's just like our masks. Pretty sure our factory saw it. And they like we had to like battle with them to like take it off of all these different places they advertise them. And it's just like frustrating. Like there's really nothing for us to do. Like we're not gonna go sue somebody or anything like that. It was just like a frustrating thing. Like I don't think that would have happened had we not written that blog post. Or if it did happen, like it would have happened much, much later. And people
Yeah.
kind of caught on, like, oh, I see these things everywhere. You know, not like, oh, cool, these guys made like, you know, 50K in X amount of time. So I don't know. There's really nothing lessons learned about that. It's just kind of
Just sometimes there's a negative to sharing. a lot.
To be clear, we're still going to share stuff.
Oh,
nothing's
absolutely.
changing there. Actually.
I mean, the benefit outweighed the negatives, even with that, right?
I mean, it's
I'm assuming
impossible to
so,
quantify.
yeah.
Like it's like how many
But I'd
lost
assume
sales
so.
do we have? You know, but
Yeah.
whatever. It's fun. Like it's our thing, and we'll continue to do it. But yeah, we've over time noticed that sometimes it's not always the easiest thing to be transparent about. Anyways, what's next? Oh,
the Instagram account hack.
I
Basically,
like that we call it hack. It's a
it's a terrible life hack.
Yeah.
Basically, Instagram has no multi-account support, and there's no easy way of posting an Instagram photo outside of just using a phone logged into the app. So because we have, 5-6 companies or whatever, like most of them have Instagram accounts. I think we have 4 active Instagram accounts right now. Like the logistics of having to like log out and log in every single time we want to post something just takes such a long time.
Yeah.
So our shitty life hack.
Well, we were like, we want to get serious about this. Like, we want to post every day. Like, Instagram does really well for all of our stuff.
Like the main thing is it needs to be easy to post stuff, or else we're not going to do it.
Yeah, we're like, we want to get serious about this. Like, how do we actually do this every day?
Yeah.
So we're like, what are the solutions? And who actually figured out doing this? I think it was you, right?
I mean, thanks for putting it on me.
Well,
we bought 4.
I mean, it worked.
iPod
I'm glad we
Touches.
did it.
This is our solution. We have 4
you
iPod
doing?
Touches, and they have the name of the company written on the back.
It's the stupidest thing ever. But it works.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, and we have posts queued up on every single one. So like when we come in the morning, we'll just like, this is app Latagram, so you just like pick one, swipe it, and it posts.
Yeah.
But it is unbelievable how hard it is to do that. I can't believe Instagram isn't working on something like this. Like, it just blows my mind.
I would pay a lot of money if they came out with like a dedicated business app that made it easy to just like do lists and swap between accounts, like Twitter's app does. Like
a tweet deck style thing. for
yeah,
Instagram, but lets you
Instagram for
post.
business.
There's a few tweet deck style things built with the API which you can do, but the one thing they don't let you do, and I understand why they don't let you do this, but the one thing they don't let you do is post
From the
a
web.
or from any third-party service, from the
Yeah.
API basically.
Yeah.
Which,
I-
I think the way they look at the way they look at it is like they want to keep the quality high. They want to keep like, some kind of set tone with like the filters and stuff like that. But I don't know. It makes
I would
running
like
a
to
business very, very hard.
Yeah. What's funny because like you tweeted that photo of like all 4 phones, tons of people were like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I had this exact
Yeah.
same problem. Like I like to think that Instagram is saving that from their API to actually do something themselves. That
I
they can
hope
charge
so.
for.
Yeah, I hope so.
Anyways, so if you've been listening to the podcast, we've been doing like 60-day quote unquote sprints of just like, there's all these different things we want to make and build and launch. And it was just a way of kind of getting focused and picking like whatever, 10 things. It's like, this is what we're going to do for the next 60 days. Assign them out to 3 of us. And at the end, we review them. Hopefully we get them all done. And then we choose like the next 10 things we're going to do.
Helps keep things on track, so you're not like, oh, what's this new thing? Yeah, let's go work on that. It's like, this is the stuff that needs to get done.
Yeah, it's like, okay, no, like we'll do that on another one. If new stuff comes up or ideas or whatever. So I figured the last one we talked about it, I think it's kind of interesting to kind of talk about what we're doing next. So the current one, we've actually got a lot this time again. Top of the list is finally launching Second. We're getting pretty close.
Yeah, we're far along. There's a whole new admin area, which is the main stuff for operators and all the tech there.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be next week.
Oh, moving to the new system.
Moving to it. Not like a full launch, but
yeah,
getting over to all the new stuff.
The current system was Jarvis, which we bought, and it's now going to be Second.
Yeah. So it's like a whole new code base and just like doing all that stuff.
Next is new smart bedding manufacturer. It's been a mess, and I want to at least get new production rolling. We're not going to finish producing, hundreds of sets, but I want to at least like get a new manufacturer going. And one of us will go to China here soon for the first time, which I think will be really interesting. Like whoever goes, like we'll take tons of photos and do a whole blog post about that. That'll be fun. You want to talk about minimums?
Minimums is going to be a publication that features the most interesting possessions of the world's most interesting people. That's the tagline. Basically, the idea is we're going to just find really cool people, hang out with them for like an hour, like ask them what their 5 to 10 most interesting possessions are. So we don't want to do things like
my
iPhone,
phone, my
Mac,
computer.
Like,
Yeah.
we want things with like kind of a cool story, like the book that you read that inspired you to become who you are today, or like this thing that changed your life, or like this life hack that you have, or like, well, you know, whatever, stuff like that, like cool things. We're going to take really nice photos of each person, and it's going to be, we're going to feature them on this really nice,
Yeah.
you know, website design. They did a good job pitching that. That's the first time I've done it to someone else outside of like you two.
So we did one photo shoot so far /
Yesterday.
interview.
Yeah.
And I think it went way better than I thought it
Yeah.
would even.
It's
So I'm
basically,
excited about
it's
it.
like, the idea is like, it's kind of the Airbnb model. They pay their photographers $50 to go and shoot a house. The idea is we'll probably, you know, we can do a few in St. Louis, but obviously that only gets us so far. Like, we want to do people kind of all over the world. We're going to try and find photographers in different cities and then queue up shoots once we find like good solid photographers to shoot these things. Most of the things we're probably going to be linking to Amazon with an Amazon referral link. That's how this thing will hopefully make money.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think it's just going to be a really fun thing to do and like a good asset to have. So just like meet new people and like foster relationships that we have, and just like, it's just been really fun so far.
Yeah, it was funny, like yesterday when we did it with person X.
We can talk about it, can't we?
Yeah. I don't want to like give away this
okay.
whole thing, but whatever. This guy that runs a bar and a restaurant locally that we all really like, and you know, we were like kind of struggling to get the list of like items from him. We kind of gave him like an example of like, if I was featured, it might be these things, and like here's
because
why.
of this reason.
Yeah, and he had really cool items. Like, you know, one was whatever, I'll have to say a little bit of it. One was like a liquor, and he had a really cool story about it. Like one is like a game that he plays with his co-founder, and it's like, you know, they have had a lot of great business ideas over it. And it's just like, you know, it's a really cool board
It's
game.
more about the story than the actual item itself.
Exactly.
Like, hey, if I do that, like that's a great idea. I want to do that as well.
Yeah, like it might be like, oh, my really expensive watch or whatever that like I saved up a ton of money for, but it's a lot of things are always like, this thing costs like $30, so like anybody can go buy on Amazon, but I cherish it for like these reasons.
Yeah.
And after hearing that story, it's like, oh, cool, like I want one of those
Yeah.
too.
We all wanted to just get the items at
like,
which is
yeah,
a
like
good,
3 out of 5.
which is a good thing
for,
because they
like,
were cool.
I'm buying that like next week.
So for the consumer, it's like a few things. You know, it's like, on the one hand, you get to learn about these kind of cool, new, interesting people, and also learn about kind of cool products that you might not necessarily have heard of previously.
Yeah.
And hear just like cool stories from interesting people.
Yeah, like I think it's a very interesting way of like interviewing someone. You know, there's a lot of just like interview blogs and websites. So it's like they kind of ask the same generic questions, like how did you get started? Like how do you?
What
this or whatever.
inspires you?
Yeah, which is, you know, there's value in that, but like asking someone like the most like close like valuable things that they own, and then like telling stories about each thing, and then photographing them like either in their home or their place of work,
It's
or wherever
really
they feel
interesting
comfortable.
seeing like inside a person's
Yeah,
home.
like, I feel
how
like-
does X person live?
I feel like I know the guy that we shot
Yeah.
like pretty well now. Like
Yeah.
I've got like kind of his life story like through these different like possessions that
Yeah.
he has. It's
Yeah.
it's a cool format.
Yeah.
So we're going to be launching that this
Yeah.
month.
Got
That's
a
a
really
fun one.
awesome domain for it.
Oh, we should talk about that too.
Oh yeah.
We can talk about
Yeah,
it.
we can. Okay.
So it's minimums.com.
Do we fix that?
We
Yeah.
fixed
Okay.
it.
We're trying to
Okay.
password protect the site because we're like playing with a bunch of content still.
Yeah.
And it was a pain, but we
Yeah,
got it.
minimums.com.
Minimums.com.
A real word, not like minimums HQ or anything like that.
So it cost. We should talk about that. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
It cost $2,200,
To buy the domain.
which I think is a really
It's
good price.
it's a really
Yeah.
good deal.
Like in 2015, it's really hard to buy any domain.
Yeah.
Like they're all owned. Any real word is owned by someone, so you have to buy it from an individual.
I actually
not
think
off GoDaddy. Or
I think
whatever.
like the value of domain names is going down in general now. To be honest, like that's
For sure.
You
definitely.
think because all the extensions like TLDs
that's one
kind of
reason.
diluted it or what?
And I think like people have figured out like it's not everything. Like you
doesn't
can
really matter.
make it minimumshq.com and it's
Yeah.
not going to really affect anything. It's just kind of like it helps with the brand. Like you can have hotdog.com or like I love hotdogs.com. Like my example.
yeah.
It's a nice to have, but
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah.
you know, a few years ago when it was everything. Like if you had like a oneword.com. So to get that, basically I emailed like 100, literally 100. I have a list of all 100, kind of like single words, like in the same vein, you know, like kind of designery type, like, you know, like object type things, like different shapes, like just things we could use, like, and kind of turn into what we wanted to, you know, use it for. I would say out of those 100 people I emailed, maybe half replied. So 50 got 50 replies. Out of those 50 replies, maybe like 45 of them wanted just like a stupid price for them, you know, like, or they just weren't for sale. It's like just way overvalued. It was like never worth paying that.
Would you answer any of those and just lowball or no?
Oh
just
yeah,
kind of ignore them
all the time.
Yeah,
you may as well. It's like it's free to do. It's kind of fun. It's fun to do.
This is good timing. My second just asked me if I want a coffee.
Oh,
to
nice.
the office. Would you guys like coffees?
Okay.
All right, carry on.
Okay.
We were going to talk about this last time.
Yeah, we should talk about that very briefly because it's a cool little feature that we added. So then there were like 5 people who were like kind of in the realm, like not just like an insane price, but still might be a little bit too high. And then there was like really only one, which was minimums.com, that was like really good, like an actual fair price.
Well, you talked him down too from like
it was
10, right?
I think we got like a really good deal. Basically, like it's the company that owned it. It's this company Buy Domains, which is actually one of the, I think it's the biggest private domain like collector like in the world. They have like over 1 million domains that they use. So if you think about it, like just the renewal fees on that must just be crazy.
Generally with things like that, I kind of discard them because I'm like, this person does this as a business.
Exactly.
They're not going to let it go for
exactly. Like you
under
only
its
really
value.
ever get a good deal on a domain name if like someone doesn't really know what they're saying on. You know? But so as soon as I figure like, oh, this is a Buy Domains thing, like there's no way we're going to get a good price on this. But you know, we kind of did a bit back and forth. I think the original list price was like, it's in the email that I forwarded you. Can you remember what it was? It's almost 10 grand.
Yeah, it was like 98 something, I think.
And I think they actually like miscategorized it, like internally. The guy was just
Yeah,
like, this might have been a sales technique. Possibly,
true, yeah.
But he was just like, oh, actually, shit, like this has been miscategorized. Like, we're just gonna up the price unless you like buy it.
Yeah. Very well might be a sales technique.
I mean, we still got a good deal on it.
I think it was worth it for sure.
So anyway, that's the pitch on minimums.
Yeah. So we're gonna do about 5 or 6 features ready to go for launch, and then put it out there. So I don't know, probably like
Hopefully
what would
about
you say, a month?
a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
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 And then hopefully we'll do them on a regular basis. And
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if the numbers work. I think I looked. The Amazon pays out. Is it 12% or 15%? Can you remember?
It all depends on.
It's on average though.
Oh.
It varies depending on the product, but on average, I think it's around 12 to 15%. They pay out per referral that you make.
Yeah, we were like applying around conversion rates.
But it's funny, right? Because you could click on a referral link to a watch and then go and buy whatever, like
Box
a
of
car,
Totally.
whatever, and you
Car,
get
Yeah.
and you get that referral.
Like
Still,
I'm
which is
super
crazy.
curious to see how much we make from that. And I think it'll be like it could be nothing. You know, it could be like, oh, it makes like $10 a day, or like you
Still
know.
seems really high. It's 15%.
It
or whatever.
varies. Some of the like lower margin things, like technology products, like you know, things like that, I think are much less. It's like you know, 5% or something.
Do you remember how long your affiliate link, like cookie on someone's computer, lasts?
I'm not sure.
It expires after a while.
I'm not sure.
But what's cool is like you were saying, if somebody clicks one of the products that somebody recommends, and they don't actually buy that thing, but then 2 weeks later they buy toilet paper off Amazon, like we get a commission off that. If they buy like their groceries or whatever it is for like the next certain amount of time until it either expires or they happen to click somebody else's referral link that like overwrites our referral.
It'll be cool to get that data and see what the deal is.
We can share it in the next podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Anyway, talking about that watch thing, so we added a new feature to Second, where you can do reoccurring tasks.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, has made it 1,000 times more useful, at least for me. So I have a few things. Like every day around the same time, it will ask me if I want a coffee, think it's around 4 o'clock, because that's the time that the coffee shop closes, or already stops delivering, 2 o'clock. Every day at 7 o'clock before I go home, it'll send me a Netflix documentary recommendation, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
Every morning it sends me the top 3 products on Product Hunt. I also started playing around with doing things like, hey, like every month, like around the first of the month, like research some like cool, like organic, like coffee brand, spend less than $20 on it, like send it to me, and then send me like an email summary of like what it is you're sending me. Basically, it recreates like a coffee subscription service.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like cool things
like
you can kind of build into having this like recurring task thing, which has been really cool.
Yeah. And it just works out of the box, obviously, with your Apple Watch, because it's SMS.
Mm-hmm. You just say yes, right? Like, what do you like?
Actually, I didn't reply.
Oh, right.
I have to like talk into the watch and be like, yes, and get like 2 more.
Because you want me,
Did you see that Facebook thing they rolled out recently? It's like, it's some kind of Facebook SMS reminder, and it'll send you an SMS, and it's like, hey, it's David Meyer's birthday today. Would you like to wish him happy birthday? If so, type 1. Then you as the friend can just be like 1 and hit send, and then it will just like post happy birthday to that person.
Happy birthday! These past 10 years of our friendship has been
it's
so
so
valuable.
funny, isn't it? It makes it so disingenuous that your friend like doesn't know all you did is just press 1.
It's binary. It's way.
That's funny.
Anyway, I thought that was worth mentioning. What else? And it's on the 60-day sprint, Marshall.
Really exciting one. We're doing new boxes.
This is kind of exciting. It's worth talking about.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we just right now we're shipping boxes. We're talking about.
Yeah.
We ship everything out in these like really generic, boxes that our fulfillment center has, and they're like kind of standardized sizes. Like the fulfillment center doesn't have every size. So often when you send out like a Pure Case or a Modern Notebook, it'll come in this like awkwardly sized box that might be too big or like it's kind of
bear in mind there's packaging around the product and then it's that
Right.
inside a box.
It's like the shipping box.
So we're going to do custom size, custom design shipping boxes, and we're actually going to save money on it because we pay for the boxes the fulfillment center has, and I think it costs like, what is it, like 50 cents a box?
65 cents a box.
65 cents a box.
And depending on the design we go with,
expensive.
it'll be like 15 cents.
Yeah.
Doing like a custom box.
And what's cool is it's pretty cheap to get like your logo stamped on the outside. Like some small customizations are still fairly inexpensive.
Like I think it'll be cool. Like we're talking about, let's say for Peel, the outside's going to be like the background color of Peel, have our logo really big on it, and then you open it up and the inside is green, and then your case is like sitting there, and there might be like a little card in there or whatever.
Yeah.
Way more interesting.
Makes it more fun.
Than just like a cardboard
opening
box.
experience.
It's going to save on shipping too, because it's going to be the correct size for the product. So it's going to weigh less.
That's true. Saving on shipping and just the per unit price of each box.
And it's better. It's better in every way.
It's amazing that like that's the case.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then we're actually launching a lot of new stuff for Peel. So we've been working on Peel iPad cases. They're sitting in boxes behind the camera actually. We just don't have packaging yet. So we're going to launch those. Great story about that in a second. Peel Apple Watch bands. We're going to do our own leather bands. We're actually wearing a bunch of prototypes.
Yeah, some samples.
And we're going to do a charging thing. We'll just wait to announce that. But there's a good story about communicating with the packaging factory. You should preface this whole thing with the guy flirting with you.
Okay, so we decided to go with a different packaging factory because the minimum order quantities for our current factory just became way too high.
Yeah.
I think it's like 10,000 or something. We don't need 10,000 bags when we're already going to order like 1,000 iPad cases. So we're getting this new factory with a lower minimum order quantity. I like Skype with this guy who's like a contact at this factory, and I think I'm not sure if there's just some kind of like language barrier.
There is.
I think what he was trying to say is like, oh, like you look nice today or something like that.
Yeah.
But he just kept saying like, oh, you're very handsome. You're very, very handsome.
He was very adamant about you being handsome.
Yeah.
He kept saying it over and over.
I remember like we were kind of working late one night. Like I was at my computer like Skyping with him. You guys were sat on the other side. And as soon as like I answered the phone, I think I just burst out laughing. And you guys like, why is he laughing? And I was just like, oh, like you're very handsome too. Like I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
So anyway, kind of an awkward start with this factory. We had to send them a sample of our current packaging so they could figure out exactly kind of like how it looks and how it should work and the different kind of parts should be shiny and stuff
So
like
they
that.
fully understand it. Yeah.
It took a while to get there. There was an issue. I think one of the packages got held up in customs for a while, so we sent like a new package out there. So it kind of took like a couple of weeks. He eventually gets it, and I got this email, and it was just like, "Hey, like, is this really what you want us to like make for you?" And he had a pick. And what had happened was, our fulfillment center also does fulfillment. I think for this company called like Send Your Friend Dicks or something, and they're little gummy willies. Little gummy penises, and it's like a kind of like a prank thing, like
Great
you know,
versions.
yeah. Like if you know David annoyed me, I could just send him some willies, and like David would laugh. Anyway, the fulfillment center had accidentally sent a packet of gummy willies to our factory.
In China.
Can't make this up.
I know.
Could not make this
I
up.
think like I'm just after the whole handsome thing, it's a very weird thing to do. Like he thinks we're really strange, I think.
Oh, for
He thinks we
sure.
did it on purpose, just to like kind of like, you know, be playful. Because I was just like, oh, like I'm sorry, like enjoy the willies, like we'll send you.
I thought you were kidding. Like I thought you were just joking. I was like, there's no way this
that's
actually
crazy.
happened. Yeah.
So funny, but it also created like a 3-week delay on when we're going to launch these side pack cases. So funny story.
Pretty worth it in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the last, I think, 2, building out a referral program for Peel.
I think we should talk about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So we implemented it. We blasted the list of all previous customers, letting them know that there was a referral campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I think you already know this, but I'm going to ask you, how many referral sales do you think we got from emailing
I actually
every
don't
single
know the
customer?
latest.
How much would you have thought?
Well, so the pitch is, hey, thank you, customer, for being a customer. Like, send your friend 20% off, and if they buy something, we'll give you a coupon for 40% off. It's an interesting pitch. Like, that's a hook to like, all right, that's worth sharing. I don't know. What do you think?
Kind of no.
I
You take a
don't
guess.
Remember. I mean, I would have guessed a lot higher. I knew like
Yeah, I
the
would
first
have
couple
guessed.
days.
I don't know.
It didn't do very well.
106. Something like that.
6
Yeah,
referral
exactly.
sales.
I think it's worth leaving on because we just started it, and like, you know, the number of orders we get right now are increasing. So, but we also blasted the existing customer list, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, pretty low.
Whatever, not everything works.
Yep.
And then so we launched the mod custom notebook service, and we're going to be building out a like a sales process around that, like reaching out to small companies. It's like, hey, you could probably use 10 mod notebooks with your logo on it. And so far, that's been really pretty good, to be honest.
It's funny how much
It's an easy way to like sell 10 notebooks really quickly.
It's funny how much inbound we used to get for that service, for custom notebooks.
Right.
And we had no page, nobody knew that we did it, but it still made up a big portion of our revenue.
It was actually more. We made more money off that our first year than we did on web sales, which blew my mind.
crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Not talking.
Not advertising it at all.
So now we have a dedicated page.
Yeah.
Which is actually cool to check out. There's a really cool video on there of like Jason like stamping the one logo in a notebook. Really cool. Also, if you're interested in some custom notebooks, check it out.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yep.
I think we should try and do this more often. It's been like
It's at the edge of
I know it's just been about like 2 months, a long time. Like,
even if it's been like 2 months on the next episode, I'm just not gonna say like, oh, sorry for it being so long. So if you skip around, it's gonna be like the same thing all over. Sorry, we'll get better at these.
Yep. Practice.
Yeah.
cool. If you have any questions or comments or anything, you can drop us an email, hello@need1.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Need1Inc. I'm at John.
I'm Matt Marshall with 1 L.
I'm at Digit.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.